you know, and so then she pivots over to,
Right. Now,
to Elizabeth Warren. I thought we wouldn't say her name today, but
Lord.
shout out to Barry.
All right, let's. All right, Barry, you got your shout out. Let's go to local briefs. Check this out. You said Elizabeth Warren. I just killed the whole conversation for me.
October 18, 2019. Councilmember Victor Gordo, Marketing Executive Major Williams, and local businessman Jason Hardin are in the race to run against Mayor Terry Tornek in the 2020 election. Under Tornek, who was elected in 2015, the city has seen minimum wage increase, the ending of the 710 freeway extension, and a tax increase that saved the PUSD from a county takeover. Hardin, a local businessman, lost to Tornek in 2015 with less than 1% of the vote. Gordo, endorsed by former Mayor Bill Bogart, has been critical of developers and the current housing crisis. Williams believes that the current mindset is in need of change. The mayoral election is slated to take place March 3, 2020. Local activists have voiced concerns over a potential decision on the YWCA building if made by city officials behind closed doors. Terry Frank of Cal Aware clarifies in a Pasadena Now article that the Brown Act would allow city officials to meet in closed session if the city is either acquiring, selling, or renting properties. Mayor Terry Tornek says in that same article that the closed-door meeting on October 14th was held because staff needed some guidance, and that everybody will get to see exactly what we got to see. There are currently 10 proposals from developers for the building, and public meetings will be held for its redevelopment. After managing the Gamble House for 50 years, USC will pass the historical landmark over to local control. By the end of the year, Pasadena Mayor Terry Tornek hopes to transfer operations to the new nonprofit Gamble House Conservancy, currently under board approval. Though the initial agreement stated USC would manage the house for 99 years, Tornek believes local supporters and volunteer organizations have proven beyond capable of preserving the house. USC plans to continue academic programs within the house, such as the Resident Scholar program that allows 2 architecture students to live in the house every year.
And welcome back, Andre. 4 candidates.
Four.
At least 2 we've seen before. One's the incumbent.
Yep.
The other is Jason Hardin.
And we've seen a lot of Victor on council.
And we've seen a lot of Victor, you know, but and then Major.
Right.
What do you think? Who pulls this one out?
Well, first let me say this, since we are on the city's channel. The views and opinions of this are mine and yours alone and don't represent the station, the crew, the guy who cleans up behind us, or any of that stuff. All right, so you and I. I think at this point, because we are just getting into this thing, it's today, right now. You go right now, you look at the incumbent as the favorite. However, you cannot discard Bill Bogart. Now, I'll tell you where the landmines are for the mayor, and I'll go down with the candidates.
Let's go.
And if you want to bring somebody else into the conversation,
Absolutely.
then that's fine.
Okay. You want to start with Terry?
I'm going to start with Terry, and I'm going to start with Terry and Victor. Let's start with that contest.
Okay.
If people want to vote for Bill Bogart again, they might vote for Victor Gordo by extension.
By extension. Okay.
This is what happens in that kind of situation. And that's what endorsements do for people. The whole purpose of an endorsement is, I'm not running. If you want to vote for me, vote for him. Bill Bogart could probably get, Bill Bogart, I won't even say probably, Bill Bogart could get in this thing today and beat every candidate running
You think so?
in the first election.
You think so?
Easily. That's how popular he was. Bill Bogart was, there was a reason nobody challenged Bill Bogart for all of those years until Terry did it. And then Bill got out of he vacated the seat for whatever his reasons were. So there is some concern there for Terry. Where I think Terry does have some strength is some of the things we just talked about. 710 went away while he was mayor, and the mayor gets credit for those things, even if he didn't do them.
Sure.
We know how that goes.
Sure.
The minimum wage issue is tricky for both of these guys because the restaurant owners who are unhappy about it say, hey, Terry didn't give us a seat at the table, but Gordo's Ed Tech committee crafted it. So toss the balls in the air.
It's dicey. I mean, and
It's dicey on a lot of levels.
the mayor has some detractors.
He does.
You know,
he does.
The
He does.
ABT campaign that.
We can't forget about that. Anybody but Tornick, that campaign.
You know what I mean? So,
So-
it's there. He's not an absolute fan favorite,
Right.
You know, and I believe Councilmember Madison, back in the last cycle, you know, had called him like an autocrat.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And in the last cycle, to throw this name out there, so yes, we can bring her into the conversation. Madison endorsed Jackie Robinson, who now is making some noise about possibly
she's exploring.
getting into the race. If she gets into the race, Major Williams takes a major hit.
Why do you think that? I think they have a different. I
Some
think they're
of their-
similar yet different, though.
Some of their voters are not the same.
No.
But a lot of them will be, because those are the two people who can make the argument that, hey, I'm a professional middle-class person who can't afford to live here, can't afford to play here, and say things on those levels. But Jackie can add, but I'm also a former council person who can't afford to live here, can't afford to play here, and I grew up here. That's going to be hard to overcome. This whole thing, to me, the whole election will turn on one issue.
Cannabis.
Two issues.
Okay.
Cannabis, and the first person to say we should have a conversation about rent control
Absolutely.
gains a lot of voters from the middle class and the poor people.
Absolutely.
A whole lot.
Absolutely.
And because we've never had that conversation to date, it's been brought up by the people,
Absolutely.
but the council hasn't gone there.
Okay, so let's look at it.
Go ahead.
Terry said he's not the mayor. I don't necessarily think rent control is the answer.
Right.
That's it, pretty much his opinion on it.
So if he brings it up now, everybody else gets to go, why didn't you say it before you said this?
Exactly. Gordo hasn't spoken in favor of it.
Never.
Okay.
Hasn't touched it. Now, they did improve the TPO, the Tenant Protection Ordinance.
Sure.
You wrote a story in the Pasadena Weekly about that and about the Washington situation. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. And so now you're left with Major
And Jason.
and Jason. I was going to get to Jason.
Okay.
But you have Major, so I don't know where Major stands on that issue. And then we don't know where Jason stands on that issue.
Right.
And then if Jackie is still exploring where she's going to stand
Exactly.
on that issue.
Well, to go back, and again, it's not an endorsement of anybody. When Jackie ran last time, she called for rent control and an increase in the minimum wage. One of those things happened. People now want that second thing. I think Major has run for about a year now on some days, a very effective online campaign.
Absolutely. I'd agree with that.
I think Major has to take a major stand, not on, I'm going to bring these new things into the city that you don't have, because anybody can say, I'm going to bring, hey, we need this.
But let me ask you, because I think I know where you're going. You want to hear some policy stuff.
I want to hear major things that's going on right now on policy.
Yeah.
Cannabis, rent control. Talk about these things.
But I wonder, would he be any different than what any other candidate is going to say on cannabis, rent control, the same issue? Because let's be honest, the cannabis issue can be resolved in March, right? And likely will be.
One way or another.
One way or the other.
Yeah.
Relief for what people are looking for in the housing market, rent control, that's a generation away. I mean, and that's a sad reality.
It might be 2 generations away, because here's the deal. This is the problem with rent control. If you can't afford to live here on Monday and I enact rent control, you can't afford to live here Tuesday.
Nope.
So it doesn't help anybody come into Pasadena. And if you're in your apartment and you can't afford to stay in your apartment, you still can't stay in your apartment. If we freeze rents right now, everybody having problems still has a whole lot of problems.
They still have problems, but I don't think that should overshadow the underlying
No.
for it. You know what I'm saying?
Not at all.
Because
not at all. We have to do something.
yeah, somebody may still be able to afford the 500 increase, not
I
the
agree.
750.
I agree.
You know?
I agree. I'm just saying we have to do something, and I don't think it's going to be one solution. I don't think we can just go rent control, problem solved. I think there's going to have to be a multi-pronged solution.
What do you think about Jason? Because last week, I don't know if it was you or Barry, one of you guys said you referred to him as both spoilers. So what do you think about Jason, Major, seeing that they are the two candidates that do not have the political experience? They're not career politicians, or even.
I think that in Pasadena, I know this is the fact. It's very hard to beat an incumbent. When in the last election, when we were putting a new mayor in for the first time, both Jackie and Terry served as de facto incumbents because they were on council. They blew away the rest of the field because of that. I think we are still in the position where it's hard to beat an incumbent, but I think another council person, I think both Victor and Jackie have very strong chances against Terry. I don't count Terry out, though. I'm not saying he's going to lose. I think that Major is an unknown commodity, and that's why I need to see him take a stance on policy.
I mean, because it's only been 100 years since an incumbent has been up for,
Right. Well, only
someone
twice.
to run against him.
Only
twice, right?
twice.
In 100 years. So,
Yeah. So as far as Jason goes, whatever he did last time, don't do it that way again. Do everything different. Take some policy stance that are serious. A lot of people, and there are 5 people running for running against council members. But a lot of times you will see somebody go, people drive too fast on my street. I want speed bumps.
I like Ryan Bell, though.
Don't know enough about him. Had a conversation with him online, enough to be intrigued. But you cannot run as a one-issue candidate.
Sure.
You have to look at what happens the rest of the 3 years and 54 Mondays, whatever that you're going to sit there. So I think the issue becomes between, if I was Major, I'd be talking to Jason about trying to get him to drop out.
Think so?
Yeah, what commission can I put you on that's going to please you? If I was Victor, I'd be talking to Jackie and having the same conversation if she gets in the race. I'd be trying, I wouldn't want it to be the Democratic Party where you have 30 people running for this thing like it's a presidential election. I'd want to get it down to 2 or 3.
Where does somebody come up with a $250,000, $300,000 to run for mayor of Pasadena, California?
You talking about the mayoral race? Or
I'm talking about the mayoral race.
It's going to cost a lot more than that, my man.
Oh, man.
It's going to cost John Kennedy, to win his seat, spent about $250,000 the first time. So you're talking about, to sit in the mayor's chair, more than probably $500,000 in time and money in this
For a
city.
part-time job.
For a part-time job.
You've covered...
A thankless part-time job.
Thankless. You're like a referee. You've covered Pasadena for years. I mean, you know the history, the politics, everything.
Hang on 1 second. You know what? You want to stick around and go to Facebook?
Yeah, we keep them going.
All right. Let's run to Studio B real quick. I know we're running out of time. I'm Andre Coleman.
And I'm James Farr.
Come right back. Join us. Let's keep it going.